Well, we're getting started. Here we are. Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? Episode 21 of Connected by Seams. The trio back at it once again. Seth Smith, Garrett Smith, and Danny Espinoza here as we were joined by Steve Fryer in this episode. We do apologize. I've heard it's maybe my internet, not sure. Maybe Danny out in the middle of nowhere. But as you'll hear maybe in this and the interview, internet might be a little spotty. We just want to get that out of the way early. We do apologize. We're trying. We're making this work. But here we are, episode 21. We interviewed.
Right, if we had an internet company sponsors, we could do it really easy.
Yeah, God damn it.
Yeah. In the meantime, studios got to make some cutbacks. And that internet, we dropped, half the speed. So you never know.
True. That's true. Well, we're here. We got the interview done as well. We talked with Steve Fryer. He's been with the OC Register since 1979. Has covered all three of us when we were at Modern Day High School. But really cool to kind of get into a lot of other stuff that he's done, and really interesting, just fun, upbeat guy, speaks well, obviously, being the profession he has. But heck of a time for us. We will not have highs and lows, as this was a quick recording for us. A getaway weekend for me. I had weekend plans. I also have a wedding to attend, a longtime friend. Should be a heck of a time. Danny's out doing cowboy stuff. G has a busy weekend as well. So no highs and lows, but that's why. And here we are as we get set. We'll send it to the interview now with Steve Fryer of the OC Register. Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Connected by Seams podcast. And shoot, a pretty cool one for all three of us here. We're joined by a man who I'm sure at one point or another covered all three of us, or at least one of our teams, while we played baseball at Modern Day High School. But now a chance for us to get to know him a little bit, and that's longtime reporter and columnist for the Orange County Register and one of the best in the game, Steve Fryer. Steve, what's going on, man? How we doing?
I'm glad to be with you guys, man. This is a lot of fun. Good deal. I've had a lot of fun covering modern day baseball over the years, including the score of the winning run in a CIF championship game. Do I got that right, Danny?
Yeah. 2005.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got to interview you after that game. It was so fun to finally be able to interview you after a game. That was a highlight for me. I remember it. I still could picture it. Big smile, your hands on your hips, man. You were just so happy. It was pretty cool moment. I remember that one.
That was a good time. I mean, for us, it had been 25 years since they had been there or had won it, and for us to modern day, for us to Garrett and I to be on that team, to be on the winning team again, and I mean, that was at Anaheim Stadium. I mean, pretty cool. To be a part of all that.
Yeah, and you told me right after that, you go, I'm going to play professionally in this stadium. I'm going to make a lot of money playing this game. I'm playing on this field one day. You didn't say that, but you should have.
You should have.
That would have been great. Now, that would have made it even more memorable.
Was he a pro?
Yeah, that would have been good.
Did he have it all together when you were talking to him? How was he?
He was great. Yeah. Well, I think he was. Yeah, he was super comfortable because I've known Danny since he played for his dad's Cubs team in Santa Ana Northwest Little League. Yeah, and he just lived just down the street. I ride my bike past there and spit at his car and stuff like that all the time.
Oh, it's so awesome. Well, as mentioned,
out.
Plenty of connections here with you, Steve. Longtime reporter for the OC Register, and honestly a legend when it comes to your work and the reporting you've done. You continue to do, covering mostly high school sports amongst many other things. But let's go back a little bit, try and find out what kind of led to this success and before all the awards and etc. A local guy, graduated from Cal State Fullerton. When did you kind of first begin to find journalism and reporting intriguing to you, or did you go to Fullerton with those intentions?
Well, I did actually. I studied to use journalism at Cal State Fullerton, and what I did was when I was a small boy, somebody selling solar panels I don't need. And when I was a small boy going to Anaheim Stadium with my dad watching Angels games, I would you know, Dad, who are those guys up there? You know, those are sports writers. They're paid to be here. Oh man.
That's
and I played sports. I played baseball and I played basketball in high school at Saddleback High School. And I realized I wasn't going to play sports for a living. I was missing two minor things, talent and physique. Other than that, I had it all figured out. So without those two things, I wasn't going to go far. So I had to figure out a way to stay in sports. So that's what I did. Was I started writing for the high school paper, and then I started working for the Daily Titan at Cal State Fullerton. Same time as at Cal State Fullerton, I was already working at the Register. I worked for a smaller paper called the Brea La Habra Daily Star Progress. I had full-on major league credentials for that little paper. It was awesome. And then I just started working there and covered high school sports in the late 70s. As a young guy, and then in the 80s, then some things changed around. In fall of 1990, I started covering high school sports here in Orange County. It's a blast. It beats working for a living. I've worked with and for good people all the time. I'm the longest tenured guy in the newsroom now, and I've had and covering, you know, modern day football, basketball, baseball, all else has been a big part of what I've done, because they've been great in those sports for a long, long time. People think, you know, I went to modern day or something like that. But, you know, it's not my fault. They win a lot, and they win a lot. I got to cover them a lot. And that's not my fault. I didn't tell Danny to go to modern day. I didn't tell JT Daniels to go to modern day. I didn't tell Miles Simon to go to modern day. Heck, my boy went to Servite. Come on.
I was going to say, you're a Friar, actually.
Sean Fryer, my son, was the first and only Friar to be a Friar at Servite.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I should get some kind of special parking space for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my boy played football over there. He won the leadership award on the football team his senior year. He got to play at Anaheim Stadium a couple of times against Servite, and against Modern Day rather. And he played really well in those games. But he had a great time playing at Servite. He loved Servite. It's not for everybody, but for the right young man, it's a great place.
I was just going to say,
he would have gotten 4 more years. They would have let him.
Yeah, the ones that do go there, man, I feel like you're all in. You just buy in, and it is who you are, and they love it. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not for every young man.
Monarchs. I'm just kidding.
But for the right young man, it's a great place. And that Servite brotherhood is legit, just like Modern Day Family is legit. You guys all know that. If you know, once you have been a teammate, you guys are teammates for life. What I'm looking at right here is a total example of that. You guys are, you know, joined together forever. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, well, shoot, we appreciate that.
We're pretty lucky to have. I mean, we went to school forever.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
From Holy Family. We all grew up in Holy Family. Went to school together through Holy Family. All of our family were friends. And then Steve, I grew up down the street from you.
Yes, sir.
And the kids were. Your daughter was what? Stephanie was a year older than me.
Yeah.
John was 2 years younger than me.
And I got a grandchild coming up from Stephanie here any moment now. Literally.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, congrats.
I had
any moment.
I had Vicky Marsha shorts that said Friar in
Vicky Marsha uniforms.
Yeah, shout out. I had them on when I was going to Holy Family, and they said Friar. So one way or another,
that is hilarious.
We have them.
I hope they were my sons and not my daughters.
Yeah, I don't know, that frame that
I think they were Sean's.
Wasn't much different.
I hope so. Otherwise, we got something to talk about now.
No, I think it was Sean. He was close to my. I don't know. However, we got him. Like I said, though,
Vicky Marsha, man, I remember going to that place.
Same. Had to make a day of it.
Miserable.
Yeah. Until you get enough hand-me-downs.
That was horrible.
I got older siblings. It was great. It worked out for me. But back to you, man. Yeah. What was your degree in at Cal State Fullerton? What was athletics like during those years? Did you get to cover anything big, exciting, anything like that?
Yeah, I was news journalism. I decided really early that I was going to be a sports writer for a living, and that's what I shot for, and that's what I did. Something I wanted to do, and I was very fortunate to figure it out and want to do it. And I was blessed to have good mentors. All you guys, y'all had good mentors at some point, right? Good coaches, good parenting, somebody along the way, whatever endeavor you went into, you had good mentors. I had a ton of them. And so, yeah, Cal State Fullerton was really good in basketball when I was there, 1978, the Bobby Dye years, we got to the Final Eight and all that stuff. And great gymnastics. A coach named Lynn Rogers was over there. Good women's basketball team. Chris Gobrecht was their coach. So I got to cover some of that. Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. I met my wife at Cal State Fullerton.
Hey, look at that. Wow, that's awesome. Did you know anything about?
She was a big
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
No.
I said she was a big sorority queen over there, and I was nothing. It was great.
Wow.
Stole her away from all those fraternities.
Yeah. Teach them a lesson. There you go.
Damn right, pal. I rushed those parties to steal their girls. That's the way it went.
Someone's got to do it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've been that guy.
Someone's got to do it. But did you know anything about those sports? You mentioned like gymnastics. Is that something you had to learn on the job, or how did that get thrown your way?
Yeah, you kind of did. But the Olympics were always on, so I knew about Olga Korbut, Nadia Comaneci, and stuff like that. So I watched that on ABC and Jim McKay and all those things back in those days. So I knew some of it, but I really believe in, and I tell younger people this all the time: if you understand competition, you can cover anything.
Yep, I second that. I asked that question. No, I asked that question because I now cover water polo. I have to, cover soccer. I do broadcasting. I do play-by-play. And so when I first got asked, like, hey, can you do a water polo game? We need someone. I'm like, yeah, of course I can do it. I didn't know shit about it, but it was like, I'll pretend I do because, I get it's a game. You know what I mean? Now I just need to figure out the rules and what I can talk about and make it work. But it was kind of just one of those things where you just gotta figure it out as you go and go from there, which I wanted to know.
Seth, are you married?
I am not.
Seth, are you married? Okay.
Not married.
Well, I've been married 37 years, and I've learned to BS my way through a lot of stuff, so I can cover anything.
Nice.
Water polo,
sure. Same.
Regular polo with dudes on horses.
Same. I've done it all. Yeah, I've done it all. I just left it off the resume. I've done it though, for sure.
You say yes and learn it later.
Yeah. That's like my life right there in microcosm.
Forgiveness and permission later type thing for sure. But how about you? Back to 1979, you started at the OC Register. You have not left. Is that kind of how you saw it going? Obviously maybe not 40 plus years. Yeah. But did you always want to stay local in this market and get comfortable somewhere? Or how did you kind of see it going?
Now, I always wanted, I thought I was going to cover the Lakers or the Dodgers and the Angels or something like that. But I noticed as a young dude, all those guys who covered those teams, they were all kind of miserable, especially if they were married and had kids, because they were gone. I never would have been able to manage in Santa Ana Southwest Little League or coach basketball at Holy Family or coach soccer, coach basketball in NJB. I was able to do all those things. I was at all the father-daughter dances at Rosary and saw my boy play, and I wasn't gone. I saw all those things. And all those guys who cover those pro teams, eventually they hate them. And I never wanted to hate the Angels, I never wanted to hate the Lakers or the Chargers or whatever. And all those guys do because they got to cover these. Some of those pro athletes are not really cool dudes. Some of the management treats writers like trash. And I never wanted to be in an adversarial position with the Angels. That would have killed me, I'm going to be buried with an Angel hat on.
That's a tough gig to cover those professional sports, because it's every single day, and you're with those writers, you're with those beat writers and stuff every single day. It takes one time to irritate one of those guys, and it's like, all right, this is a bad relationship.
Yeah, somebody asks you a stupid question or doesn't understand, okay, why did you throw it to third instead of first, You try and get the guy at three.
Danny, have you had that experience before?
Had a couple of them.
Danny put a guy on
I'm sure you had some writers who were total jerks.
Danny put a guy on a 3-month suspension from asking him a question.
Don't blame you. I'm sure there were some dopes. I have worked alongside guys who wrote for other papers and stuff like that. And it's just like, gosh, we're competing with each other, but you don't mean to be a jerk about it,
Yeah. Well, it's got to be
what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
It is tough though, because you do want to tell the truth, but I guess there is, the happy medium or picking the right topic or a way to go about it.
There's a way to go
separates them. Yeah, for sure.
It's an art.
Yeah.
And somehow
there's a way to go about it, and everyone forgets that everybody is a human, and everyone forgets that they still, they have a family, and that their parents read the paper, or their parents or their kids or wife or whoever see everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And some of these guys too, men and women could give two shits about that.
Yeah.
And I understand it's job to write, but come on, have a little feel.
And the cool thing about covering high school kids, something I keep in mind, and I try and tell younger writers to do this. Every kid that we cover just a few years ago was sleeping with a stuffed animal. Heck, maybe they still are, And every kid that we cover is still his mama's little boy, little girl, still their little baby. And I always try and keep that in mind. And what I'm doing is nothing more complicated. I'm just filling scrapbooks for a living. That's all I'm doing. It's not more complicated than that. Once in a while, I got to come down on somebody, a coach now and then. Can't help it. Got to do it. I'm going to do it. As far as like ripping a kid or something like that, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Because it goes beyond that.
That's a terror.
Yeah, you're signing up for a lot of that. Yeah. That's
no way am I ripping some high school kid.
I've never really thought about it that way.
We never do. Let me tell you something that I'll do. Kid fumbles the ball at the goal line. I'll put the name of the kid who recovered the fumble, but not the name of the kid who fumbled the ball away. Sometimes I can't help
little things.
Yeah.
Dude, at the line with free throws, you got fouled in the last shot of the game, zeros on the clock, you stand at the free throw line, you're down 79-78, he misses both free throws, got to put the kid's name in who missed those two free throws. Can't get around that. But if there's a way I can get around it, a lot of times, like if a kid makes an error, guy scores on an error, I won't say it was scored on an error by shortstop Joey Smith. I said he scored on an error.
Leave it at that.
Period.
That's what matters.
Yep.
If
I can get around it, I'm going to do it. Now I get made fun of and criticized lofty like that. I'll take that criticism.
Geez, you're working with high school kids that, these kids that if that it'll break them. It could possibly, that could really hurt those kids. They've never dealt with media. They've had zero media training. Yeah. And, and then they see that, they don't understand the job side. And if they see, oh man, he just crushed me in the paper, it just, it
won't do it.
It could potentially crush.
I'll do it to a coach.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or if a kid, it's got to be pretty extreme for me to say anything about a kid. It's got to be something on the field that is so egregious. There's I gotta do it.
Yeah.
But that's happened. I've been doing this for 30 years straight. Probably done it 4 times.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it sounds like experience definitely is the background of figuring that out and, working along that way of, I guess working with kids is something I never really thought of too much, especially if it's a young freshman. Even though he's on varsity does not mean he's anywhere as even if there was a senior or something. So I guess just kind of putting that in perspective is a game changer for sure. But your experience, man, concerts, Super Bowl, professional sports, you've done literally everything. But let's get into the Super Bowl. What Super Bowl was it and where was it?
It was at San Diego Qualcomm Stadium, where my wife's family has had season tickets for the Chargers for decades. I used to go to a lot of games. So covered a game at I covered one Super Bowl when Green Bay, I think Green Denver. And the best part of it was when I went to my spot, they did an auxiliary press box, and this guy was in my spot. I said, "Hey man, you're in my spot." He kind of gives me a bad look, Like, okay, so I just got to know sure they kicked him out, and he left these really super expensive sunglasses on my spot. I put them in my bag. The guy come back later, goes, "Hey man, did I leave some sunglasses there?" And I go, "No, I didn't see any sunglasses."
Oh, I hope he hears this podcast and figures it out.
Hopefully he's not a connected fan. You're gonna get busted here. That is, hey, he signed up for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was deserving of that for sure. But that's awesome.
Really good sunglasses, like really expensive. I forget what brand they were, but I would go, "Oh man, I could never afford these."
Yeah, scored.
I don't know what sunglasses are, dude.
Yes, never seen them. Sorry.
You still have those?
No. I probably broke them.
Yeah. I'm the worst. I'm the worst with
In my
sunglasses.
pocket.
Yeah.
I probably fell asleep on them in my jacket pocket.
Yeah. But
watching a 15-inning Angel game.
To the concert reviews kind of thing. I was reading you did some for the paper or still do some, obviously now a little bit different times, but you've seen the likes of AC/DC, Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones, Rush. How awesome is that? And how did that kind of get started? Did you present that as an idea, or was it already something at the paper?
It's a total scam. It's a total scam. They give me great seats and they be there. What a scam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Big.
Oh yeah. It is so cool. And I've got to interview a few people too. I got to interview Steven Tyler, who was total fun, great dude. I always answer the phone, Steve Fryer. So I go, pick up the phone, I go, Steve Fryer. He goes, Steve Tyler, that rhymes.
Right away, you hit it off.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
that is so cool.
it was hilarious. And so I've covered a lot of shows, and it's really good. And I know everybody I cover, Aerosmith, AC/DC, the Rolling Stones, things like that. I know their catalog backwards and forwards. I've seen them all double-digit times. The Stones about 30. And I know when they're doing something a little different. I know they haven't done this song ever in LA or something. And so I kind of got an edge there, and I can write fast, I can turn and copy pretty quick. So it's been a lot of fun. I mean, what a cheap date night, man. I got like, $100 seats, and they're paying me to be there, and they give you parking and stuff. I mean, it's glorious.
Those are pretty cool experiences. The Super Bowl, I mean, to cover high school sports and then go to the Super Bowl and then to cover the concerts that you've covered. I mean, that's pretty fun. I mean,
oh man,
talk about your job taking you places that you probably would have never suspected or got to go if it weren't for being able.
Same
to
with you, right?
Same thing. I mean, I would have never.
You got to see the country. You've played in other countries too, right? You played in Japan, right?
You played in Taiwan. I played in Brazil. I played in Netherlands. And so
let me ask you something about Brazil, Danny. I've been to Brazil. Let me ask you about Danny. Danny, the women in Brazil are supposed to be very beautiful. I've been there. They live up to it. What do you think?
Well, they're not ugly.
You're married, I can say it. Women in Brazil live up to the rep.
Wow, you heard it. You heard it here.
Women in Brazil are very pretty. One thing that disappointed me about Brazil was how unsafe it was.
Oh yeah, I was in Rio de Janeiro on New Year's Eve. Holy mackerel!
Yeah,
I was too, and I was shocked. Like, what is going on? Like, I thought this would be way more immaculate.
When the World Cup was there,
well, you look up in the hills, all those shanty towns up there.
Yeah,
if they have a big earthquake there, man, it's over.
Oh, toast.
Yeah, and it's just barrio stacked on top of barrio.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. When the World Cup was
bad
there
barrios
for soccer,
too.
When the World Cup was there for soccer, they were having like bodies roll up on from the ocean onto the sand. Like, it was not good. Like, not somewhere you should have all these countries.
That's how it was on New Year's Eve.
That is unbelievable. Like, I had no idea either until then. So I've crossed out Brazil on my future visit list.
Well, you go up into the jungle parts of it. There's some beautiful places up there. Get up there. Oh my God.
It's easier for them to hide the bodies there. It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah, I tripped over a few of them, but it's all right.
That's fine.
But you know what, Danny, let me tell you something. You know my wife, right?
Yep.
You know my wife, Kathy, Danny.
Yep.
She decides on New Year's Eve, it's like the sun's about ready to set. She goes, oh, let's go to this jewelry store. We're not buying jewelry in Rio de Janeiro on New Year's Eve, sweetie.
Solid.
No.
Yes, but we did. And we're walking out of this jewelry store with jewelry on New Year's Eve. I'm going to get killed.
Hey, you made it through.
They told us, don't wear any of your jewelry. Don't look suspicious at all. You need to blend in as much as you can. Don't give them a reason to stop you or anything. And we were with the Olympic team, and we had guards with us 24/7 that were carrying AR-15s. And they still were like, don't look, don't.
I don't care what
do anything that's out of the norm.
But a professional athlete looks like a professional athlete. How the hell do you blend in a situation like that?
Well, look at me. Look at these lack of guns I got here, and I'm walking around Rio de Janeiro, with my wife with a bag of jewelry. Come on.
Well, Steve, they obviously
got a shot.
They obviously knew who you were. They knew to stay away. Legend status walking through. Heads up. They knew.
Oh yeah, it's that idiot who writes about modern day too much, man. Let's get him.
Hey, we love it. But let's talk about that a little bit. You talk about how you but you do cover concerts, you cover professional sports, you've done a Super Bowl, all these things. But the high school game for me, I've always found intriguing, and I dabbled a little bit this past year working with Modern Day a little bit. But just you get to kind of see them before they become something. Like Danny, you get to talk to Danny on Angel Stadium field, and eventually he is playing there. Like, that is so cool. I'm sure you've had so many experiences. But what I'm getting to is, talk about the network or the talent in Orange County, the market of every sport. I'm sure covering high school sports in other areas could be, it's just a high school game. But when you're going to a Friday night football game, you're watching NFL talent. And if you want to maybe elaborate on that.
Oh, yeah. You're watching Carson Palmer throw the football and Deshaun Foster run the football in the same game. You're watching Chris Tillman, who's going to pitch in the majors for Fountain Valley on the hill. It's the last out. It's the bottom of the seventh, 2 outs, guy onto the bags. Fountain Valley's up by 1. Tillman's on the hill, and Hank Conger's at the plate. I see stuff like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness. Shane Bieber pitches against Garrett Cole in the Indians-Yankees playoff game. Shane Bieber, Laguna Hills. Garrett Cole, Orange Lutheran. By the way, Shane Bieber, he was nowhere on my all-county radar at all. Nowhere. He was in third team, nothing, all-county. Now he's like maybe the best pitcher in the American League.
Yeah.
I did a good job of scouting that guy, didn't I?
How about the flip side?
Totally missed him.
How about the flip side? Is there anybody you've had major talent-wise in Orange County that's maybe flopped and hasn't turned out, even in college?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of them. A lot of people peak at different times.
Yeah.
Danny Espinosa's senior year, he batted .222. Okay. So he wasn't all county.
280.
Okay, batted .280, but .280 ain't going to get you all county, even as good a fielder as Danny was for modern day. Okay. So he wasn't on the all county team, but he was really good as a and all that, and kind of struggled a little bit at the plate, maybe as a senior year. But dudes plateau at different times. Sometimes it's college. Look at Barkley, Matt Barkley, modern day quarterback. By the way, one of the nicest, greatest kids I've ever covered in terms of personality, maturity, all that stuff. Loved the kid a lot. Great family, and he made it to the NFL. Now he's still on a roster. He's still making pretty good coin playing the NFL. But, everybody goes, God, he never really made it in the NFL. Good Lord, he's on a roster and he's wearing a uniform and he's, making a ton of money. And some guys just get to the minors and that's it. But I think anytime you make money, I don't care if it's Class A ball or you're playing in basketball in Spain, whatever. If you make money playing sports, you're a great athlete, period. You get a scholarship, you're great. Some guys do better at different times. I can think of all kinds of guys who I thought were going to be certified big time pro athlete, didn't make it. It just, sometimes guys plateau different ways. Something happens up here. They get the yips somehow.
I think a lot has to do between the ears.
Or they get injured. A lot of things. Yeah, or just they get a bad injury at a bad time. They went through high school. Matt Grudegood, high school football player, probably covered 30 years.
I want to get him on.
He just didn't quite have that speed to quite get to, he's great at USC, but he just, that 10th of a second that you got to have to compete in the NFL level. He just didn't have that 10th of a second. Didn't have that extra 2 inches, But as far as like his heart, oh my God, he had that in spades.
He was a great athlete, great football player, but you also probably covered Rod Perry, who was another standout football player. Yeah. And then, the biggest one that I could say that, everyone thought was going to go to the NBA.
I know where you're going. Taylor King.
Yeah.
Taylor King.
Or at least last at Duke. Come on.
Yeah. I thought
you end up at Concordia. No hate on Duke. No hate on Concordia, but Duke and Concordia,
Taylor King, Shea Cotton got bad advice as young people.
That's right.
Bad advice.
It happens.
Jake Cotton got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah, he got hurt, but he also misapplied himself in some areas.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
Jake Cotton
that's all I'll
was
say.
like the next coming Michael Jordan.
Love him. He's gotten it together now, and he's trying to help other young people not follow his stony path. And he's great for doing it. Wonderful person. I love him. And, it took him a while to get some things together. God bless him. Same with Taylor. Taylor's coaching now, helping out Jay Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Looks good.
I didn't know that.
He is wonderful to see him. I'm really happy for Taylor King.
Yeah.
Great to see him do it. He's the first person, so is Shay. First people will tell you, I screwed up. It's all on me. God bless him for doing it. I'm happy for both those guys. I hope they, become great dads and great coaches. And, I think they're both on their way. Love them both. Great guys.
That's good. The journey back to success. That's awesome. Well, Steve, we have about 5 minutes left. Do you want to send another link, or we can ask you just one wrap up quick question?
I got nothing to say. Everybody knows how to find me. You Google me and you'll either
what's the latest
stuff I've written or my arrest record.
What's the scoop on high school sports? What does it look like with everything going on right now? I guess is the important question.
High school sports year starts in December. The CIF state organization pushed everything back. Hopefully we'll get COVID-19 stuff a little better clamped down and kids can have a full on. And broke my heart last year when in March we just unplugged everything. Kids only played 20 games, 15 games, whatever. They didn't have playoffs for spring sports. And these are seniors and you can't go back and get that. But hopefully, it was a wise decision by CIF to wait until late December, early January to get sports started. They've sort of compressed seasons, like boys volleyball, girls volleyball, basketball, boys and girls basketball, spring sports. You got to figure out gym time, not just varsity. You got lower levels too, JV, frosh, soft teams, etc.
Wow.
So it's been delayed, but I think that if people do things the right way, and we're all in this together, everybody, we're all in this together to clamp down these COVID-19 numbers. We can play. If we beat this virus down, then all these kids will have an uninterrupted season coming up. But it's all to us now. Every one of us, we have a societal obligation to get this thing down so kids can see their grandparents again, so I can go see my newborn granddaughter, so these kids can have a full-on senior year, so kids can go back to work, so restaurants can go full-on and open up, so I can get on Space Mountain again.
I hear you.
We got to do all these things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well,
I agree.
I'm down. Let's go. I'm fired up.
Hey, you got me fired up. I want it December already. I want high school sports. I want those kids back out there like you and so many others. It was so sad to see that come to an end. And it's beyond sports. It's the interaction. It's just being able to be with friends. Yeah. It's everything you just mentioned. So you've done your whole career at the OC Register. Very well said. Again, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to do this with us. Again, Steve Fryer, a part of the OC Register since 1979. You now said you're the longest tenured employee there. Is that what you just said? Yeah,
I'm the old guy in the place saying, I remember typewriters, young man. I'm that guy now.
Steve,
I'm the boring old guy.
Cool.
Carbon copies. You know what a carbon copy is?
That's awesome.
You obviously have to walk in and be the big dog. Let them know you're in there. So.
You better be getting your coffee.
No, I'm too scared of everybody. I've been married 37 years, man. My spirit's been beat down. I don't know.
Oh, man. Well, you were wonderful here this evening. We appreciate you taking the time, Steve. We'll see you soon.
Good seeing you guys.
Steve,
God bless
thank you very much.
Thanks
for seeing you.
Good seeing you. Thanks for having me aboard.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Absolutely.
Well, shoot, there's the conclusion there of the interview with Steve Fryer, long time. And when I say legend, I mean, the dude is, so many people know him in the area. He's covered so many different things. I remember specifically just seeing him always with a notepad in, always, like you said, at Mater Dei, seeing him at football, basketball, you name it. He was at everything. And then it goes beyond that, his concerts, his everything else. And I thought it was cool. He pointed out a couple times how he said, when I talk to younger writers or when I try and tell younger writers this, that, he's trying to give back. And as we saw, he's a very just loose guy. And I'm sure if you caught him at the right time, you could probably just get chatting with him and he could let you know of some secrets that keep you in the business for a long time. I mean, the dude's done it for 30 straight years. You know what I mean? Like just been killing it.
I mean, isn't that what we just did though? I mean, yeah, essentially.
But I'm saying if I wanted to be a reporter, you know, but yeah, he was gracious with his time and more than willing
he was pretty awesome. Easy to interview.
Yeah, spill the beans a little bit, and I just thought it was cool. Like he, you know, like I mentioned in the interview, just needing to work on the fly, work quick. Like he said, can write quick, get stuff down. So there was a lot that resonated for me in my profession as well. And not just that, but as a human being of just being normal and not wanting to include kids and recognizing that. I mean, they're freaking high school kids, man. Like, why are you going to bash them?
Never hear them another writer.
Is that what makes you feel better? You know what I mean? And he recognizes that, and that's enough for me. And he said in 30 years, he's done it 4 times or something. Like, that's crazy. So kudos to him. Just all in all, awesome interview. I loved it.
Yeah, you'll never hear another writer, you know, be that conscious of these are kids. These are 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And he's conscious of when he writes that he does not bash them. And that's awesome because you don't want to crush a kid. I mean, potentially, for the most part, the kids aren't going to make it out of high school, but why crush them in their high school sports? What does that do? And he understands that. And he has mom and dad, so he still lives at home. Mom and dad don't want to read something that's crushing their kid, you know, kids at home. But, you know, for me, it was pretty cool to kind of go full circle of being the athlete, him interviewing me, and now we interviewed him. I grew up down the street from Steve, and we all went to school with the Friars, and obviously he was the big reporter. My parents loved reading his stuff, and I think I even told my dad we were going to interview Steve, and he's like, "Oh, that'd be cool." He said, "That'd be awesome." He's like, he's always written good stuff. He's like, he always took care of you. He always was good to you. So it was really cool to kind of see it full circle and see this interview come together.
And to touch on what you just said, Danny, I think we talked about it last time where my dad asked me when we were supposed to have him last week, and it was like, I said Steve Fryer, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny. I thought you said Steve Fryer." I was like, I did. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome. Like, how'd you do that?" You know? But yeah, to continue what you're saying with, recognizing that the kids, literally the kids that he's covering in sports for high school sports in California, they are just that. They're kids. And we talk about it, and we have talked about it multiple times on the show, where, you know, kids getting drafted at a young age and that mental side of the game. And why would you want to subject yourself to that if you're not ready? And it comes around to this too. He recognizes, why bash the kid for making a mistake in a game that, you know, he's learning from? Like, they're kids, you know. I thought that was it was cool to hear his side of it, because reading the story and those little underlying tricks of not writing the guy's name that fumbled the ball, but the plus side, it's something that I never would have looked at. You know what I mean? Like, I never would have understood or recognized that, because that's how smooth of a cover it is, that it just flows. But my favorite part about the interview is that he said, "I'm just filling scrapbooks." It's like, hell yeah, you are. Think of how many scrapbooks.
I've got mine from high school.
Cut that shit out. Yeah. Yep.
Dude, my mom's like the queen of that. Like, any articles of not just Seth or I, but like of Danny, of, you know, Corey Hahn, of everybody that we have.
I think you and Corey have just as much shit as Garrett and I have from our playing days up in my mom's shrine, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and it was probably
scrapbooks. And Garrett was talking about.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So I thought that was rad. Plus, I mean, he's gone to 30 plus Rolling Stones concerts. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, as he
that's awesome.
Yeah,
rough gig.
I love that he doesn't view his job as a job.
No. Yeah, he said something so clever. He was like, "Oh, I haven't had to work for a living," or he said something that I was like, "Ah, that was good." Like, when I go,
and he wasn't even saying it as like a point.
No, he really believes that. He's never worked. This is just something that he enjoys doing. He loves sports, and he got to stay in sports through writing. And God, I mean, everyone knows Steve Fryer. He's covered all of us, generations of family. He's covered sports on all of us. So it's really cool to hear him say that he enjoys it so much that this is not work for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I did want to squeeze this in, but he was already very gracious with his time and setting that up. But a couple of his accolades as well, mentioned the Super Bowl, mentioned all the concerts he did, the high school talent he's covered, but inaugural class inducted into the Santa Ana Unified School District Sports Hall of Fame, Southern California Interscholastic Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame, first journalist to receive the Contribution to Education Award from the Orange County Department of Education, and honored as champion for character by the CIF-Southern Section. So that hallway is getting plenty full for Steve. He has made himself into a lot of halls there. So again, just so cool that we get to have someone of that stature on here that we also knew on a different level. You know what I mean? It's cool to kind of dive into that.
Apparently he knows Danny a little better than us and remembers a little more than Seth and I's playing.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
My phone was not. It just never stopped ringing either. I don't know why he didn't care about it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But hey, no, it was awesome. And I'm sure if we brought up moments, he would bring it up. We all played in huge games. Obviously, you guys, the champs. I remember beating Matt Hobgood, who was the CIF Gatorade everything. Allowed like seven runs all year. We torched him. Corey Hahn drove in more than that himself, I think. So I'm sure there was big time stuff that he's covered that we've been a part of. So as Danny, like you said, so cool for us now to be on this side. And Steve, you did well. If you're listening, you did well. You've been taking notes. So you were quite the guest. We appreciate you taking the time. But anything else for you fellas before we go?
Before we let go, when he was talking about sports and the climate that we're in with all the COVID shit going on, but when he was bringing up, and I mean, I thought, high school being cut short last year, but I think that it feels like that was so long ago. But kids' senior years, they're shot. Danny, what if our senior year was cut off short? Like I felt like our team and going through high school. Seth, I know you guys were close, but
sick,
with our
dude.
Team going through
how
high
many
school
times
our senior year. What? Oh, how many times are we gonna make a jab?
No, I said how many times were we close? We went to the goddamn semifinal 3 straight years and lost.
You know what's funny is I didn't even mean it that way. I meant close as in like personalities and like in friendships and all that. Like I wasn't talking about going to the semis and getting your legs cut out. No.
Awesome, dude.
I was talking about just like as a core, as a group, and if our senior year was cut short, I mean that was a pretty magical run that we went on our senior year. So keep in mind, like
that was fun, and I couldn't have imagined to just have your senior year cut short. I mean,
that would be
brutal. All the guys never played again after high school.
That's what I was just gonna say. Luckily, like I got to go play after you went a little ways after, and so, but like there's plenty of guys that didn't, and that sucks for them, or that would have, and it sucks for
would have. Instead, we got to win the championship, and that's their last game they remember is winning championship.
Yeah.
No, that's a good thing to bring up and also touch on. It is good to hear high school sports are coming back. I wanted to just get him to talk about that a little bit. Just let us know when we could expect stuff to come back. So it's good to hear December. Hopefully things start coming back. And I know like modern day baseball is already back on the field and they've been doing stuff. And I think football is scheduled to start in January for high school here in California. So slowly but surely things starting to return and come back to normal. One thing that is never normal is us here at Connected by Seams. Never know what you're going to get. But that's another one in the books. Episode 21 now complete. That does it here for the trio, Garrett Smith, Danny Espinoza, I'm Seth Smith. We thank you guys for joining us again. We will not... Are you guys still there? It's breaking up pretty bad on my end.
No, you're clear. You're clear.
All right.
You're good.
All right. Either way.
We're here.
But we will be back. This will be out on Tuesday. Please, everyone, enjoy it. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to be back. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Check out the video portion on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Comment, rate, review.
Do it all. We appreciate it. Appreciate the love. Here we are, episode 21, now complete. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
Back and back.